best advice you could give 12-year-old Mark, like starting out to play?
You know, I think when I was 12, I was just excited about learning new things. Even if it was a new chord or a new scale or a new song or a new rhythm or whatever it was. Honestly, man, at that age, I was just excited about the next band practice that I had with my buddies in a garage. Just have fun playing with your friends and sharing ideas and turning up your amp and plugging something you're not supposed to plug into to see what it does. You know, those kinds of things. Yeah, it's just the experiment and beauty of being young and figuring it all out. You should be inspired to learn that new chord. And once you learn that new chord, do something with it. Put it in a song.
Hanging on the wall, hanging, right? I will play the B string and then feel down here. And if it's moving it, if it's actually got a little wiggle to it, you got a live one.
That natural resonance.
Yeah. And I also really believe light guitars sound better and they're more controllable. A lot of people like heavy guitars. I'm the opposite. I think you get more tone with wood when the wood is reacting. I make sure these LSL guitars of mine are never more than 7.35 pounds.
Don't go for sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Just practice and rock and roll.
Practice and
Stay
rock and roll.
clean. Yeah.
I found that helps me a lot with playing scales. They get boring after a while, so you can like while you're watching TV or something, just like play the notes while you're watching TV, and it builds your muscle memory up so much quicker because you're not looking at it and you know what it's supposed to play like.
Phrase that I like to say a lot. When you are the worst musician in the room, that means that you are in the right room. So the best way to improve as a musician is actually to play with people that are better than you.
You are absolutely right.
Honest to God, the thing that helped me the most across the board was playing music live in person with other human beings. Everything is different when you're playing with other people. When you're playing with a video online, it's like it's preordained. It's like all mapped out already. There's no variables. Like it's going to be the same every single time you play along with that video or that song. But when you're playing with other people in real time and they're doing things that you're not expecting, or they're improvising, and then that leads you down another path, and then you start improvising and together, I mean, all that stuff, that is where tremendous growth takes place.
I sucked when I started. I sucked. And I don't suck anymore. I mean, I'm really, really thrilled with where I've gotten to as a guitar player, and I'm excited about the next things I'm going to learn. I reject the natural talent. I think most of it is hard work and kind of figuring out what you want to do and breaking that down into the small exercises and things that you need to do to get further. There's YouTube, so I could slow it down to like 0.5, like half speed and play along. But I would play one measure of the guitar solo over and at half speed until I could get it cleanly. And then it's a piece of cake to just, do it faster. But yeah, it takes a lot of patience.
What I learned was that I had an ear that was fast enough to get my voice in the right pitches, and therefore I wouldn't get in trouble by the director because I would do the thing that they asked me to do. And so if you could do it in a group and some dance steps and sing the notes, you had a chance. What was also a heartbreaker for me was my voice getting deep and changing. I didn't think that the singer with the heavy voice was going to get all the girls and get things going in the fun way and do all of the pop silly stuff that we thought was cool. At the time, you're not hearing, you don't know Prince's speaking voice is very deep and low. So I just figured that I would write for other people and I would produce and create. What I also realized was that the things that I have to say are not for other people to sing.
By the time I hit 12 years old, I was already in my first country band. Playing gigs out at venues and clubs, and of course ran into the same issue you did, man, being 13. I loved Ricky Skaggs' tone, his approach, but it didn't hit me until I moved to Nashville that I realized Ricky was using a B-bender. So I had learned all of those B-bender licks without one. So that's how my style really developed. What I'm going to do, man, is I'm going to give you one example of what I do to get these bends, man. You have your regular A set, here's the second fret, as you can see. So when I play A, I can move anywhere pentatonically. Now the trick is, when you go to the D chord, when I play a D chord, where can I take one finger and bar on the D, G, and B string and get that D? 7th fret. Now, watch this. If you take a major pentatonic in D, right? What I did as a kid is I said, man, my pinky finger's too short, and I got steak fries for fingers. So I said, man, how do I get... So I said, how do I get that scale to feel better? And how can I make it sound less like a scale and more like a lick? So what I did was this. I kept my bar on that 7th fret, but I started on the A string and I played 7, 8, and 9. That's the number of frets. And then I play 7, 9, and 7, 9 on the D and G. And when I get to the B and E string, I'm going to play 7, 8, 9, 10. So you actually have a lick. That's where all those licks come from. But here's what I want you to see. So once I learned that I could use this index finger for that D chord, right? What's so great about this is I can reach to that A again, which is like a sus2, and walk into the major third. Now what I'm going to do is bend the G string on the root note, 7th fret G. I'm going to bend that down a whole tone. You have your typical...
As you get better, your gear's going to get better. You know, if your playing ability is here and your gear is here, well, then it's out of balance. If your playing ability is here and your gear is here, well, then that's out of balance. So it all ends up working out if you just are patient and let it all happen. I'd rather have a guy with 2 strings that can make music than a classical pianist that can't play anything without sheet music in front of them.
There you go.
What's the point? If you're on a desert island, if you got a coconut in a string, but you can hear it and make a melody versus somebody that can't, then I'll take that.
My definition of success has actually changed a lot in the last 5-10 years as well. If you pay all of your bills with your art form, it doesn't even matter what neighborhood you live in, what you drive. It's like if you can look somebody in the eye and say truthfully that every bill is paid via your art, that right there, it's like, take a bow right there, pat yourself on the back right there. That is a success.
Your guitar in your hand and see where it goes. And I'm not even looking. I don't know what notes. I don't know what key. I don't know anything. I'm just like listening. I'm in that state of listening and kind of feeling. It gets me in the zone. And then eventually I'll run through maybe some things that I know I need to practice. But that kind of gets me in the zone. You know, the hardest thing sometimes for me is just to sit down and, okay, go. You know, and play the song, and you're like, wait a minute, but I didn't get to do all my little noodly stuff, you know, like, so I do think there is something about, like, just trying to know what it feels like when you're in that space, and then try to find ways of getting there.
Music is an art, and in art, there's not a better or best, it's just a preference, and it's where we are, you know, we're all painting the same picture using different materials. You have artists and you have musicians, okay, and now they can be interchangeable, they can be both, but people tend to lean more one way or the other. Their songwriting is far outweighed by their playing ability. Their great playing is what people are like, this is why I'm here. Yeah. Then you have other people, you know, who their songwriting is just like, that's why you're going to listen. And every musician that exists, you know, has to find that out for themselves and figure out where on that spectrum they lie.
Here I am, a complete beginner, and then I'm getting lessons like with Steve Vai, and he's showing me how to play For the Love of God, and then he brings his band in, and I'm like, I've never played with a band, and it's like, I've literally been publicly embarrassing myself for the last 2 years. I hope that if anything, I can inspire beginners, or people that maybe are thinking about playing a guitar or an instrument. I hope that I can inspire them to just go and do it.
When you first start playing music, those are the hardest days, and it can be very frustrating because you hear someone play fiddle like this guy and you're like, man, I want to do that, and then you start playing the fiddle and you realize how hard it is, And with anything that you're starting, you're never going to be as good as you hope to be right away. And those are the hardest parts. So just keep going every day that you can, even if you can only practice 1 minute a day. You know, do that minute. As much as you can, get in front of people and play live. If it's an open mic, that's a great opportunity.
I'm here with Bill X. Look who it is.
Motherfucking Am Show. Ow! Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.